Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Griffin, and I'm a filmmaker based out of Orange County, California. And today we're going behind the scenes of a commercial. So come on, I'll show you the cameras. We got Ryan over here. He's our first AC. Sneak right behind you, bro. Two cameras we're on today are the C500 Mark II and the C70. We're shooting with the Zeiss Supreme Prime Lenses. And on the C70, I got the PL mount on there. So we're also running the Supreme Primes over there. And that'll be staying on the Movi Pro all day. And the idea is that we can just run the Movi Pro and have that ready to go at all times. And then we'll have the C500 as our A cam, which is gonna be on a Dana dolly for most of the day. Cool. So one of the things I really like about the bright tangerine cage, I did a video on it on my channel, but you can actually just come off the dovetail. So when you're like building your camera, you get your focus motors, you got like everything you're trying to like rig up. You want your camera to be on a really stable platform, so it's not gonna be flying all over the place. And when you come off, you can just take it and I'll have a second dovetail over here. So I'll put the second dovetail right here on the tripod and I can just go on that one. And you clamp on and you're good to go. So that's one of the cool things that sort of saves time. So you can have like a nice stable platform when you're building over there. And then when you want to go to your tripod, or if you want to just switch off to handheld, you can just throw it off and go handheld. And it's kind of like a nice, easy way to go from your camera car to your tripod. One of the things that we do ahead of time before the shoot is we figure out the shot list. So we'll figure out basically everything that we're going to shoot, and then Justin kind of takes the lead on this. He kind of does the storyboard and it comes up with a really detailed shot list. It's usually done after our location scout. So we came to this location once before together, and we'll take some still photos, and then we take those and we'll use it to, he makes this super detailed list, basically literally line for line. If we're going to be 24 frames a second, is it a medium close-up, medium wide, whatever, is it Dana dolly, handheld, and he lists it all out. So that way when it comes time for the shoot day, we're not just trying to be creative on the fly, because there's a little bit too much on the line to just sort of be making it up on the spot. Yeah. You got to kind of know ahead of time. And so I know one of the things to do too is work with the client to kind of get sign off on this.
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing is like, what does your production day look like, right? If you had a full day to shoot one scene, we'd probably have more creative autonomy, plan on the spot, have some fun with the shots because we have time. But because the way this production day is laid out, we have a lot of shots to do in one day. So the more pre-scheduling and pre-production you could do, I think sets you up for success on the day of production. Everyone's on the same page, everyone has a script to follow, and it just goes a lot smoother.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Sweet. So one of the first things I like to do when we're getting to set, everybody's kind of doing their own respective stuff. Lighting guys are doing the lighting stuff. Camera guys are building all the camera stuff. I like to start when I'm at home. I'll build everything ahead of time. So if I'm gonna have a gimbal, then I'll build the whole gimbal and I'll balance it all the day before and make sure everything's working properly. And then on the A-cam, I'll rig up the Teradek, I'll rig up my monitor, all the support, everything that I want. So that way when I get to set, I'm not fumbling around with like screws and stuff like that. And then one of the things I like to do when I want to see like what it's going to look like is I like to actually just get the camera on a tripod and just leave it there. And so when we're lighting our scenes, I'll grab my director, like Mr. Justin over here, and we can start talking about what the look is going to be and if he likes the lighting and if he's happy. And a tip, if you're a DP, is your goal is you want to make the director look good and you want to make sure he really likes it a lot.
And Griffin does that pretty much all the time. So
that's the mission.
That's the mission, baby.
I have this custom menu right here. So first I check sensor mode. Okay, I'm in full frame. Recording format, we're shooting XFABC today because that's what the client wants. Frame rate, 24. Resolution, 4K. Sub recording, that's our proxy. And our custom picture, we're shooting in log 2. And then our bit rate, we're in the high bit rate. And then to make sure image stabilization's off, recording mode's normal. I just basically run through and make sure I'm not in like 1080 accidentally, because like the last thing you want to do is shoot this whole commercial and then you realize you forgot to switch your camera into 4K. So I like to do that when I get here. I do it at home, but then I also do it when I'm on set in case anything somehow got reset. And then once I do that, I can start looking at my scene here. So Ryan over there is pulling focus for me. And then we can start looking at our frame, seeing what it's going to look like. And then I like to use false color. when I'm going through here. My false color's off for some reason. So this way I can tell kind of what's a little bit too hot. The red's a little bit too hot. And then I can basically take that out. So I'm gonna see if I can dim those background lights down, because you can see they're clipping a little bit. So in terms of lighting, we've mostly been using the Airy Sky panels. These are like $7,000 lights. They're super expensive, but you can rent them pretty cheap in LA. So one of the cool things about these lights is they're RGB, so you can change from warm to cool. And you can add magenta or green or any variety of colors, but in our case, we're mostly just warming things up and accounting for the magenta cast in the lights. So it allows us to move quickly from setup to setup. That's kind of one of the cool things about these lights, is you could just dial it in for whatever corner of the room, because these windows give a little bit of blue cast. So we basically have to account for that depending on where we're at in the room. And these lights, you could just dial it in super precise and then just match it to in camera. One of the cool things about using V-mounts of their camera, this is a plate from a company called Full Frame Camera Co. It's kind of a smaller company, I think out of the UK. Dude's really cool, his name's Alex. Highly recommend them. That hasn't come off my C500 since I got it. But if you run it off V-mount, you can power your camera, but then when you have all these accessories too, like a monitor and a Teradek and wireless follow focus, it's got these extra D taps here. So you run them all off one source. And that way when you're doing your shoot, you don't have to always be thinking about like, okay, my monitor's got battery, but my camera's dead. Camera's dead, but the focus motor needs a new battery. So that's kind of the nice thing about having a universal power source. One of the things I learned early on, actually in production, like some people might be thinking it's kind of overkill having like all these monitors and all that stuff for your, like the client and for your focus puller. But obviously if you have a focus puller, then they need to have a monitor for themselves. But one of the things I found out from somebody that I was job shadowing like a couple years ago was a lot of it's about production value. And if the client can see and experience the shots while it's happening, there's of course the benefit of them seeing what's happening in real time and giving any corrections that they might need to, like, hey, that shouldn't be in the shot, or there's something over there that's out of place. But also just the perceived value. And so as you look to charge more with video production, what I found personally is that when you do things like this, it kind of elevates the overall production value and allows you to basically break into that next pricing category. So one of the things we're doing right now is it's called getting client sign-off. So Justin, our director, his main job on set is to basically direct talent and to work with the client. So it's my job as the director of photography. I really leave all that to him, all the client interaction. And it's my job to listen for what Justin wants and to basically figure out a way to make that happen from the camera side, and then communicate that message to the team. So to our gaffer to make sure he understands what's going on, to our first AC to make sure that he understands where to pull focus, what I want to be in focus. And then we're getting sign off on the movement. So we're gonna show the dolly slide of what that's gonna actually look like. And then they can say, hey, I like it, or hey, can you show a little more of this part of the kitchen? So that's kind of one of the cool things. So once you get to the edit, that you captured everything that they want. See, the key to a good first AC, is they've got to have shoulders. Look at this. Hold up. You need to have your shirt like this all day. Look at this. Oh, this is the gimbal guy for the day. This guy too. Oh my. Let's have a deadlift contest right now. So one of the things we did to kind of speed up production, because we're changing a lot from A cam to B cam. So our A cam is the C500, which is mostly on the Dana dolly, but a little bit handheld. And the B cam's on the gimbal. Since we didn't want to have to rebalance the Movi a bunch of times, we actually got two of the Nucleus wireless systems. So we got A cam, B cam. That way we can just literally go from one to the next. And we've got a second map box on there. And I kind of just asked Justin ahead of time if we could just pick one lens and stick to it on the Movi. That way we're not necessarily having to jump back and forth and have to rebalance it every single time. The more things you can do to speed up production workflow, the more chances you're going to have to get more shots and take time and set up all your lights and stuff like that. If we shoot it next, we'll be fighting the light level changing the whole time as it goes from sunset to sundown.
Okay.
If we shoot this next,
Okay.
we can just shoot it and have no issues.
Okay.
And then come back and shoot this once the light's consistent.
Okay.
And then we also won't be fighting that big blue push with like the warm push. So
Sure.
it'll be like two lights fighting each other.
Yeah.
And we could just make it look like daylight.
Love
you know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be easier because we won't be fighting the changing light levels.
Okay. Love it.
What are your thoughts?
I love it.
Cool. All right, so we're on the home stretch. Last scene of the day. Well, last scene with talent of the day. It's been a long one. Got here at 6:30 a.m. It's now it's 7:30 p.m. So it's literally been 13 hours on set. Obviously, this is quite a bit longer day than usual, but sometimes that's how it goes on set. That's what we had planned. We just got a couple more scenes and we'll be wrapped. But I'm pretty stoked on how it's all turning out.
Phenomenal job, boys. Yes. Phenomenal job.
Good stuff.
Yeah, man. I think it was a good day. The gaffer was kind of, but other than that, it was a pretty good day. No, but I think we're all pretty tired, but overall, super happy with how everything came out. I think the images spoke for themselves.
Absolutely.
And great crew.
Yeah, huge props to the whole crew. Honestly, couldn't have done without them. So starting with the DP, from the G&E guys to Ryan Luke, everybody was crushing the game. So let's do it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Take care.